Hello, Miss Steele here. So this week we're talking about emphasis, and we're going to be focusing on that for our project today. We're going to be using some really fun line work and color work to help create emphasis in our projects, and we're going to be drawing these cacti. So you want a piece of paper, a pencil, an eraser, art tool basics. You want some colored pencils. I also have a sharpener, and then you want some markers as well. But first we want to start out with our base drawing. So what we want to do is we want to draw a cacti or a cactus, cacti being more than one cactus, in a pot. So I'm going to start with drawing my pot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a flat oval towards the bottom of my paper. I'm going to sketch this out just so I can get the shape I want. And once I have that flat oval shape, I'm going to add two straight lines coming down, like that. I guess I curved them in just a little bit. They're not going straight down, they're curved in. And then I'm going to follow this same line for right here. So I want it to be curved like how it is above it, like that. Now I'm going to draw two more lines kind of coming in just a little bit, making for sure they match on both sides, and then a slightly curved line here on the bottom. I like to draw pretty sketchy, but what I'll do is I'll go back and draw whichever line I think works the best, the hardest. So what we want to do now is we want to draw a cactus inside this pot. There are a lot of different ways you can draw a cactus because there are so many different cacti. I'm going to draw a pretty simple one. Thankfully, cactuses come in all different shapes and sizes and details, so ours can look a little bit different, but if you want to draw the same one that I'm drawing, feel more than free. If you want to try a different one, you can do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with a big oval coming from my pot. So I'm drawing it going around like that. Now I'm going to erase this line here on the inside because I don't need it anymore, because my cactus would be overlapping that back of the pot, if you remember. When we talked about space, overlapping is one of them. I could draw other smaller details down in here if I wanted to. I think I might add one to this side, and I'm going to add a smaller type cactus. And I think it's going to be one of those cactuses that almost have those weird short sort of petals on them like this. So I'm going to draw one of those just to add something else into my pot, just because I feel like there's a lot of empty space between the two of them. Maybe it's coming out like this. If you want to give your cactus an arm, you can definitely do that. An arm coming off the side like that. I just draw two straight lines and then a curved line to connect them. I think I'm not going to draw an arm on my cactus, and what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to draw a flower on my cactus. And to draw my flower shapes, I'm basically going to draw like a bunch of little lemon shapes right next to each other. So two curved lines next to each other, kind of going up like this. And that's going to be my little cactus flower. It's kind of made up, but I think some of the best art is. Now going down my cactus, I'm going to add the lines. I could do straight lines if I wanted to. I could do wavy lines. I could do zigzag lines. If I wanted to add spikes, I could do it by just adding straight lines right next to each other. I could do X's going down. I could just do lines going either way, going down. So that's kind of up to you with how you want to add details to your cactus. As well, you want to try to add 2 to 3 patterns on this pot just to give it some detail. I think I'm going to do kind of like this drippy sort of line work on it, like this. And then I think right here for this part of my pot, I think I'm just going to do like stripes. And now our color work is where this starts to become a little more important, because you can make your cactus green or any sort of shade of green. Some of them come in almost like peachy colors as well. There's a lot of different colors you can use for your cactus. But you want to choose to do warm or cool colors. So you want to do one or the other for your pot whenever you're coloring it in. And then for our background, we're going to use the opposite. So if you make a warm colored pot using reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, you're going to use cool colors for your backgrounds, being blues, purples, greens. So if I decided to do the opposite of that and I did cool colors on here, I would do warm colors on the outside. So I haven't decided. I think I might do this one. I haven't decided. Warm colors maybe. So I'm going to work on getting this colored in. I'll probably get the pot colored in first, and then I'll do the cactus, and then we'll start working on the background. And you want to color it in using colored pencils, because using colored pencils for this, and then we're going to use markers for the background, they're going to have two different textures, so it's going to help build up that emphasis going in between, you know, colored pencil lead for the focus of our artwork, and then using ink for the background. It's going to make this stand out because it's going to be a different style of color using markers for the background. So I'm going to start working on getting this colored in, and we will check in, and then we will move on to our next step. Alright, so I went with warm colors for my pot, and for my two patterns, I did a pattern with these lines and with these colors, and the same with down here. I used warm colors. So now I can use greens to color in my cactus, and then we will move on to our next step. So I'm going to get my cactus colored in with colored pencils, and then we will work on getting our background worked on. Or I guess filled in. Don't have to say worked on twice. Alright, now depending what you did for your pot will change what colors you have for your background. I did warm colors for my pot, so I'm going to use cool colors for my background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all of my cool colored markers I have that I might want to use. And again, warm colors would be reds, oranges, yellows, creams, pinks. And then cools would be blues, greens, purples, things that make you think of a cooler day. And what you're going to do for these is the first one's going to be the hardest because you're going to be tracing around, but we're going to add lines going around our cactus. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use this marker, and I'm going to go all the way around trying to get as close as possible. This is going to be the hardest one. They're going to get easier after this. So your first step is using your first color of marker. You're going to trace around your cactus as well as you can. I like to go slow, take my time, kind of turn my paper sometimes so I can get to the angle a little bit easier. And then we're basically going to repeat this step in a way to go all the way around. So I went around with my first color, and I want to make this just a little bit thicker, so I'm going to go around this line one more time. And then I'm going to keep doing this with each color. So I'm going to go around this just to make this line a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to keep doing this step with different cool colors. Because I did warm colors on my pot, and we're talking about using colors to help us build emphasis as well. It's going to really help that cactus stand out, having the warm colors on the pot and the cool colors going around it. So I used my first blue, and now I can choose whatever color I want next. Maybe it's this green. And I'm just going to go around, and if you see I'm leaving some white in between, I'm going to go back and fill that in. But it doesn't have to be perfect with like following the shapes of everything. You can just get as close as you can. And then I will go back and fill in that white in between the blue and the green. And then I'm just going to keep repeating this step using different cool colors until I get to the end. So I'm going to add in a few more and then we'll check in and see how this is going. Alright, so you can see I've gotten through quite a few colors, and I'm just repeating that same step of kind of tracing the shape of it, and then going back and filling it in. You can see in some areas where it kind of popped off the paper and then came back on, just because I didn't want to try to, like, you know, make it all super skinny so they all fit in, so I just jump off the paper and then jump back on. But again, I'm just repeating the same step until I get to this top area of my paper, because that's going to be the last section I fill in, just because I've already finished the bottom. And like I was doing whenever I was outlining my cactus, I find it easiest to have a nice hold on my paper and then kind of spin it while I'm working. I feel like I get more control that way. So I'm going to finish up with my last few colors and then we will be all done with this. I only have a few more to fill in here. And then the emphasis is, of course, the cactus. That's the focus of our artwork. And that's why we have radiating, meaning kind of coming out from one central point. These radiating lines, and we also push that emphasis more using the warm colors, and then the cool colors kind of, either you're going to have warm colors on the outside if you use cool colors on here, or vice versa, and doing it that way really makes the cactus stand out because it has contrasting colors, being the cool versus the warm. So I'm just finishing up these corners. You can see it kind of pop off. Go to the next side. So I put all my markers in order so I could get my pattern correct, but you can do it in any sort of way you think looks nice. Maybe it's going between two colors or kind of random. And just like that, my cactus as emphasis with warm, cool colors and radiating lines is finished. I can't wait to see how your guys' comes out, and I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, your afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Bye, y'all.